Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for the press conference for the 2022 She Rocks Awards. I am Laura Whitmore, founder of the Women's International Music Network and the She Rocks Awards. And I have some of the amazing women that we're honoring this year with me today. She Rocks Awards this year is going to take place on June 2nd, 2022 in Anaheim, California. You can get tickets to join us at sherocksawards.com. And I just want to, before we get started, I want to thank Diodario for hosting our She Rocks Awards press conference today. So let me just say hello to everybody. Hey, Carman.
Hi.
Hey, MILCK, how are you?
Doing so well.
I've got Meredith Brooks with us.
Hello.
Hey there. Sherri Chung. Hey, Sherri. Lyndsey Parker.
Hey.
And Lzzy Hale.
Hi, everybody.
All right. So great to see you guys. Thanks for joining us today. I'm just going to start off by asking you, what are you looking forward to with the She Rocks Awards this year? And I'm going to start with Lzzy because you've been there before.
It's going to be a big family reunion, and even though there's a lot of you on this at this awards that I haven't met, I feel like we all share this common ground already, and just I can't wait to celebrate in person with all of you.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see everybody in person. Lyndsey, you have hosted, you've done a red carpet. Like, what are you looking forward to for this year? You're on the other side. You're on the other side of the carpet, right?
I know, it's crazy. I'm doing the virtual red carpet, but now, yeah, I don't thank you again for giving me this honor. I've given the honor away. I hosted the show in 2019 and 2020. I echo Lizzy's statement about doing it in person because, like I said, I hosted it in 2020 with Mindy Hebert, and it was, I guess, January of 2020, and we were dancing on stage with Gloria Gaynor to "I Will Survive," and we had no idea what was about to happen 2 months later. And after we all went into lockdown, I wasn't doing anything. I often look back on that night as kind of like a big celebratory, almost last hurrah before everything slowed down. And it was obviously the She Rocks Awards had to be virtual last year. So yeah, I'm excited to celebrate with all you fantastic women in person, and eat food and drink booze and see live music on a stage. Is going to be awesome.
Yeah, right. I think about that moment often because who knew what was coming up 2 months later. We got very lucky that we were able to have the award show in 2020. Meredith, what are you looking forward to at the She Rocks Awards? This will be your first time there.
Wow, that's a long list. Well, so I've been having these little fantasies. Whenever I go out and I sing, meeting this many women, I'm like, this never happened before for me. I mean, I used to play in all-girl bands when I first started, and then I was in the Graces, then Lilith Fair. So I've always been surrounded with women, but where women could get together and hang and meet and like exchange numbers and I know it's not going to be totally casual, but I'm hoping that we can actually talk and, if we decide like, oh, we're meant to be friends, let's exchange numbers and hang out. I would love that because oftentimes when you're at shows and stuff, like even with Lilith Fair, we would want to, and it was in our minds to, but we could never really continue because all of us were on tour and we all went after every Lilith Fair, we were in different directions, so it was really hard to stay connected and stuff. So I just think this is an amazing thing to do and to keep doing. I just wish it had happened when I was, a long time ago.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great thought. Yeah, there have definitely been some epic connections made in the green room at the She Rocks Awards, for sure.
There's a green room?
There's a green room. I mean, we'll see what happens this year. We're in a new venue, but yeah, it's pretty fun. Sherri, you're new with us this year. What are you looking forward to?
I'm new to this whole even just the singer-songwriter. I mean, I began as a singer-songwriter, but it was never a world that I was able to I shouldn't say able to, but it was never a world that I really pursued as much as I did with composing for film and TV. So I'm just more, I mean, I had to look all of you up and I was like, oh my gosh, like you're all performers, you're all beautiful, you're all just like, you know, and I what I'm really looking forward to, I think, is coming out of my world, basically. Like film and TV, we're composers and we don't play in bands. I think the most that we do with other people is, you know, we record orchestras, you know what I'm saying? And even then we're maybe in the room conducting, or maybe on the other side of the glass, sort of conducting, you know, verbally producing in that way. So I'm just looking forward to coming out of that film and TV world, coming into this world where, you know, I make music in a different way, but I just, you know, doing that and with other women and with other, you know, just the celebration of the whole thing. So I feel very much out of my element, which I think is a really important thing to do as artists. So I'm looking forward to the whole thing, just meeting everybody, and even this is a great experience too.
Awesome. Awesome. Carmen, what do you think? What are you looking forward to? I'm looking forward to seeing you perform. That's for sure.
I'm excited to perform, but I'm really excited just to like meet all these incredible women and talk and hear everyone's stories and experiences and just have the opportunity to feel like we're all part of something beautiful that you've created and that's moving and changing and inspiring other young women to be a part of it.
That's awesome. Thank you. And MILCK, I saved you for last because I know this is your world. Like empowering others is important to you. Like what are you looking forward to the She Rocks Awards?
Well, first of all, Laura, I've heard of the She Rocks Awards for years, for a long time, and I remember I get the emails and be like, oh, one day that'd be really cool to like be a part of it. And there's a couple lessons I'm learning is like sometimes one, just reach out, you know, you have to be so shy and be, you know, like wait. And so I'm so glad that this is happening. And thanks for saying that, like, I'm all about empowerment. I think it's because I need it so much myself, and music helps me feel that power. And so I'm excited to like sing for you all, and I'm excited to meet people. And the past 2 years have really helped me go from my head into my heart more. Because of the slowdown, I feel like I'm just needing to prove less, and I just want to be present and just be alive and be a human. I left Atlantic Records. I've done a lot of stuff to just like go back to humanness. And so I'm excited to have conversations from a different place in my body and to meet women and hear about how they have navigated the past couple of years, and hear what they've learned. And I don't know, just go deeper. This is what I'm excited about.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I actually got really emotional when you said that about the She Rocks Awards. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, like you do this, like we're working on producing it. There's so much that goes into it, and we don't always think about how does it affect and inspire other people. But I'm really glad to hear that. So that's really nice. Speaking of, like, why do you guys think it's important to shine a spotlight on female role models? Does anybody want to jump in and talk about that?
Yeah, you know, this is something that, I mean, we all remember it was just a few short years ago that there, you know, I mean, I'm speaking for me personally, where not only am I the only girl in my band, but I was the only girl on the bill and the only girl backstage and all of these things. And that has completely changed. So it's such a beautiful thing to be a part of, but it's very important for me to shine a light on the fact that we are women and we are succeeding and we have built our empires. Because personally, you know, I wear being a female in this business like a badge of honor. You know, it's just a fact. We've had to work twice or 4 times as hard to just get through the door to get noticed. And then it's a constant state of proving that you deserve to be on that other side. And here we are, you know, all of us in this panel, literally, you know, on the top of that mountain, and we're able to, you know, look at all of these young women that, regardless of whether they want to be a performer, composer, a tour manager, a producer, you know, a roadie in this business, whatever their dream might be, by all of us standing up and saying, we did this and we did not give up, even though, you know, maybe we weren't taken seriously at first. Maybe there are people that wanted to put those roadblocks in our way, but we did not give up. And that is going to make their dream, that little crossroad, that bridge to their dream, just a little bit shorter. And I just love being in that position right now, because, you know, kind of like what Milk said, like, you know, I know what it feels like to look up to people and look up to people like Meredith and then before her, Ann Wilson, and all of these people that were like, oh, these women are rocking. And I know it sounds like really silly, but I remember when that flip switch, I'm like, well, I'm a girl too. And therefore, if they can do this, so can I. So it's beautiful to be on this other side and able to like just kind of pass that light along to these young girls. And so I just think what we're doing here is really, really important. They can see their reflection in us.
Okay, Lyndsey, it just happened.
Hmm?
It just happened.
What just happened?
What she just said, she said, look up.
Oh, I thought you said this is going to happen a lot. You said Lizzie. I thought you said Lyndsey. This is going to happen a lot. I'm just worried.
No, it just happened. It just
It did.
happened. She asked me a question earlier, and I'm not around people that
Oh yeah.
that are successful that have ever said to me I had anything to do, like I was a model to them. I mean, the ones that I've worked with are all pretty much just singers. I always made them learn guitar, whether they liked it or not. They say, I play guitar. Oh yeah. How much you practice today? 15 minutes maybe? I said, okay, we're gonna switch that to 3 to 4 hours a day, and I'm gonna get you a guitar teacher. And they'd be like, and most of them were, you know, singers, and I knew that they looked up to me and stuff, but it's just so different when it's a guitar player. I can't even tell you the difference. That just hit me even more than the Australia girl. I was talking to Lyndsey about something that had happened recently, and it just was like, because I wanted that. I wanted girls. I fought really hard. One of the things I fought really hard for was that every single picture, everything in marketing, I had my guitar in my hand. So if I would be in Canada and I'd see an end cap that didn't have a guitar, this is really, I'm sure was annoying, but I made them put a different end cap up because there was a point to it that nobody could see but me, because I didn't have anybody. I knew there was, I'd heard about the Runaways. I'd heard about Fanny. I knew, I'd heard maybe Nancy Wilson play, but we didn't have MTV or social media. We had Rolling Stone. And if you weren't in Rolling Stone, there was nothing that you didn't know until, you know, the 80s. And then it was just like, I was glued. I was like, what? Oh yeah. But then I didn't see, I mean, I just didn't see anybody like me yet still. And so I didn't really think I was girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, until I got to LA, which she talked about. So this thing about the modeling, I'm just hearing about now from people, but not really from people that have gone on like I was hoping it would affect them. And it doesn't mean you have to make it and then, oh, that was good. It's just like, I was talking about this girl from Australia who's helping pick out clips for the 25th anniversary of Bitch, and she saw something from the Guitar Player magazine. She said, that. I'm like, nobody wants to see me modeling for, you know, taking a picture. And she said, my group, we have a women's guitar group and we all play lead, and we all play lead because of you. And that was the most inspiring thing we'd ever seen, is when you were on the cover of Guitar Player magazine. I'm like, okay, that's what I wanted. And it was very intentional. So I just wanted, you know, I want to say to people, like all of us, I do things very intentionally. I hold that baton out intentionally. I don't know that there's enough of us doing that yet. I still don't see that enough. This is really incredible because I don't see enough successful musicians helping other musicians that don't know how to do this. You know, independent artists, like I have one that I worked with, she literally left American Idol and said, I want to be an independent artist. And I said, absolutely, let's do that. And I don't see people helping them, do that.
Mm.
How do I do
So-
that?
That's what we're here for, right?
Well, I didn't know about you.
No, you know.
This was over 10 years ago. So
Yeah, no, I
it's
get it.
just figuring it out.
Mhm.
I mean, before Ani
Mhm.
DeFranco, either you were not you were playing out of your van, selling whatever you could, or you had to sign to a label. So then Ani DeFranco was a trailblazer and gave us all this whole new paradigm, like, oh, yeah. So I want more.
Thank you, Meredith. That's so awesome. Sherri, what about in your world? What has it been like for you as a female, composer for TV and film?
I was gonna say, Lzzy, and even Meredith, when you're talking about just how like we've had to work 4 or 5 times as hard. I mean, that's across the board, I think, for just women trailblazing in anything, especially. And I mean, it doesn't even have to be the arts, and it's really true. I didn't actually, I wasn't wearing my like feminine or like being a female as a badge of honor. I was actually like trying to hide it. I mean, not like maybe physically hide it, but I was like, no, you can't, like, like I don't actually think that, music really has a gender per se, but what does of course have a gender are the people who make it. And I think that's what's awesome about this, something like this, and just, the celebration of it. It's like, this is time to celebrate being a woman and what we've had to do. But specifically in the film and TV, I mean, I like you, Meredith. I mean, I when I wanted to do this, when I wanted to get into film scoring, there were no females. I also didn't like grow up with the internet in the way that we have now. So like, I didn't even really know how to do this. Like, how do we watch movies, we hear the movies, or we hear the music, but you don't really know like what is this magic, And so I, even in my undergrad as studying composition, I was the only female in the entire 4-year,
Wow.
matriculation.
Wow.
I mean, it was a smaller school, but I mean, it was like 1. And then when I went to grad school, I was 1 of 2. So it's just like, I think, just kind of getting back to your original question, it's like, we need events like this. We need celebrations like this to say, to show others that this can be done. I mean, obviously, I feel like many of us have been able to do what we've been doing without female role models necessarily always at the ready, because we just didn't really have them all the time. But in the industry, in film and TV, it's definitely been called a man's world. I never thought anything of it except to say, oh, I need to be less like a female, than just so that I can fit in, obviously. But now it's really changing to, in such a positive way. I mean, there's all kinds of group alliances, collectives that are trying to uplift diversity, and a lot of them are like going to the studio executives and saying, hey, listen to these new voices, and some of it's it's tricky though, because I always feel like, yeah, but if you listen to the music, but so there's this weird thing where it's like, we want to celebrate that we're women, but it's also like, don't hire me because I'm a woman, hire me because of my music. So we have to like straddle that line where it's like, how much do we crow, and how much do we just I don't know, let the music speak for itself. But this is such a important thing, because I mean, especially in this day and age where we can, get our art out there and get our messages out there, both in good and bad. It's really important that the positive, like in a situation like this, it's positive. So it has to rise to the top, because there's so much negative, there's so much noise out there. So this is, yeah, I see it changing in a very, very positive way. And I think something like the She Rocks Awards is definitely, is helping that.
Yeah, we're just celebrating, right? We're celebrating the achievements of women. And what about anybody else? MILCK or Carman, do you have any thoughts here? Or Lyndsey?
Well, I mean, I had a similar situation about trying to almost like not consider myself as a woman at first, when I was trying to get in and be a session guitarist and on people's records, or at university and all of that. It's just like I was so focused on being just a guitarist, being just good, not being considered for a job, or not because of my gender. And then the thing is, like, then there's a certain point in life where it flipped, the tables turned around completely for me, and then I could wear it, like Lzzy was saying, is like something that I'm proud of. It's like, oh, like, I think it comes a bit with when you start having a little bit of success and you're not being put down all the time. Then you're like, okay, wait, I now have this voice. I now have this opportunity to inspire, or, you know, to keep on doing what I'm doing, so that, you know, the next generation doesn't have to grow up like I did without those role models, or without, you know, without those difficulties, or just feeling alone in doing something that is very male dominated. So it's just like, at first I didn't want to think about it and just be the best guitarist I can be. And then it became like, oh wait, no, actually I'm very proud of being a woman.
Exactly. That's brilliant. That's you just said it exactly. The first time somebody said she's the best female guitar player I've ever seen, I literally was like, what'd you just say to me?
Yeah, exactly. Take the word female out.
Wait, what? It's like, oh, we're gonna change that right now. Because it's not about, it just blew my mind. I was thinking, well, that's like out of 5 people. That's not right. And then that wouldn't even be right, because look at what, we're all different. You know, you have Nancy just being one of the best, you know, insane classical guitar players. I mean, if you've ever really watched her play, it's like, I could never even come close. And then Bonnie, don't even get near her with a slide, because I've been around that girl with a slide and it's like dangerous. And then Lita, she's a shredder. I am not a shredder. And she's insane when she can do double necks and stuff. And I'm like, and then I was like, we're not even anything. How can I be the best out of, yeah. So I thought, when I saw that magazine cover, I was like, I don't think that's true, and I don't like that. And it was one of the first times I realized there was a differentiation in other people's minds. And I thought, I think what you just said, Carman, is like really right on. Like, I think I was under the fire just going, just be the best.
No one really goes up to a male guitarist and says, well, you're the best male guitarist in the world.
Never.
We should start doing that. There should be like lists.
Yeah.
Jimmy Page is the best dude guitarist.
Yeah. I love that.
Or whatever.
Wow.
You do that, Lyndsey, when you're interviewing. You know, you're one of the best male guitarists I see.
Sure.
You're so good for male drummer.
You're pretty good for a guy.
I really related to what Sherri and Carman were saying about like hiding our gender in certain points. Like, I mean, even a few years ago, I had short hair and wore combat boots all the time, and like just really hid my femininity. And I'm at this point right now where I'm healing the whole relationship, because I view society like this bird, and there's one wing that's a feminine, one wing that's a masculine, and the masculine wing is really big. It's really represented and developed, and like the feminine wing has been underrepresented. It's like small. So like if you think about it, then we're flying in circles, and we're not getting anywhere. The more whole that women can become, the more whole our society can be, the more interesting our songs are going to be, our music. And so I think something like this is so important for all of us. Like, we're celebrating each other. You know, I remember before my song went viral at the Women's March in 2017, just a year before that, I was told I should go back to China. Asian musicians wouldn't be viable here. And then the Women's March happened, and that electric, global, peaceful uprising just shifted people's mentalities, whether they wanted to admit it or not. And then there was a space, and now it's like flooding with so many different voices, and just like practicing celebrating each other and standing within our own power. Like, if you rewound like a few years ago, I could have been really intimidated and nervous here and thinking about, oh, I gotta be better. I gotta be a little more like Carman, or gotta be more like Meredith. But now I'm trying to practice like, okay, I'm just exactly where I'm at. And there's so many of us doing it. And it's just this revolution of like all of us, like millions of women coming forward. When there's more of us doing it, it's like less pressure and more like joy, you know? Because joy is so needed right now with all the work and all the rights that are at stake. Easy to be like, I'm so discouraged, but it's happening because we are making advancement. And I just got the honor of singing in DC, and I heard Hillary Clinton speaking, and she was like, advancement is never permanent. And then so I went and sang after her. She spoke, and I said, I agree, advancement is never permanent. We have to like continuously fight for it. And the thing that I know is permanent is the badassery of women. And we're constantly, at any times of crisis and stuff, like we're there to show up. And so if we have more female musicians like writing stuff that's helping us trigger to the heart, like we do change the world. Like songs have shifted the world.
Yeah,
This is true.
right. Anybody watching, I just want to invite you. There's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. You can post questions there. I'm going to ask these amazing women another question, and then we'll take some questions from you guys. I just wanted you to share, like, maybe what have you got in the works right now, and or coming up. And I'm going to start with MILCK. Like you, I think you just released a new song called Power in March, right? Which is a beautiful song. We want to share about that, and maybe whatever else you have coming down the road.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just released a song called Power. And I think that's the song I'm going to perform at the award show. I'm super excited to do that. And I'm working on something called the Family Album, and it's I'm working in conjunction with La Jolla Playhouse to create a musical, which will tell my story of the dynamics of coming forward about my sexual assault, and then the really layered reactions because of my culture, because of my gender, and all of that. And it's done through a lens of humor and heartfelt songs. And so, yeah, I think I'll be releasing some EPs as the musical's getting built. So I'm doing that in conjunction with a badass female, Adrienne Gonzalez. She's my producer and co-writer. So that's my laundry, sorry. Yeah, so that's coming out soon.
Awesome. Lyndsey, you had a book come out last year called, I wrote it down, Permanent Damage, Memoirs of an Outrageous Girl. And we had a great conversation about it.
Coming up on almost a year. Yeah.
It seems like the
June
book
9th.
has done like so well, and it was a great book. Can you
Thank
share
you.
a little bit about your experience there and whatever else you have going on?
Yeah, sure. If people know who the GTOs were, they were probably a band that for a lot of women, they looked up to them. They weren't a traditional band like the Runaways or Fanny or the Go-Go's or whatever, but they were a girl group that, was overseen by Frank Zappa of, I guess they got called groupies, and, they didn't dislike that term, but, I think they were more than that. They were like women in the scene, and they did this experimental artsy band called the GTOs. Pamela DeBar was in that band. One of the girls in that band was Mercy Fontenot, or Miss Mercy as she was known. And she was just one of those kind of zealots who was always in the scene. She was in the Haight-Ashbury scene in the 60s, the GTOs, Frank Zappa scene, Laurel Canyon scene in the 70s. In the 70s and 80s, she was very involved in the punk scene that was happening in LA, hanging out with the Go-Go's before they were famous, and the Germs and all those bands, and X. And, who obviously X-Scene's been honored by the She Rocks Awards before. But anyway, she was just kind of always this interesting figure in music who never really got her due as an influencer and a tastemaker, and just because she led a pretty crazy and sometimes tragic life. And we became friends through Pamela, and I kind of convinced her to let me help her write her memoir, which is called Permanent Damage, named after the GTO's one album, which is going to be back in print soon. It's been out of print for a long time, but I know Amit Zappa and the Zappa Trust are working on putting it back in print, so the timing is good. Unfortunately, in terms of bad timing, she died before the book came out. She died in July 2020 during the pandemic, not from COVID. She had cancer, but I think that's why she wanted to get her story out there, because she knew she was ill. And so she signed the book deal 8 days before she died. So I always take great solace in knowing she knew her story was going to get out there. Book came out on June 9th of last year. It's about to go into paperback. So yeah, can't believe I did that. It took 4 years to get that done from the day I convinced her over margaritas at petty cash to do it. I don't have any other book projects, but I have some women in mind. I don't want to say who, but there are some women who I'd really like to do this with, and hopefully maybe do something with to get, you know, in a perfect world, I'd get Mercy's story on screen or something. So any like screenwriters or people in that world who want to hit me up, please do. And as far as everything else, I'm just working all the time. You know, I'm on, obviously I'm the music editor at Yahoo. I have my daily show on Sirius XM Volume Channel 106 from 4 to 6 p.m. on Mondays and 5 to 6 every other day of the week, interviewing people, including She Rocks honorees. We have a She Rocks week every week. And yeah, so I'm just busy, but you know, getting the book out there. I always wanted to be a published author, and I found a woman who inspired me to do it. And I'm real proud, and you can go get it wherever good books are sold.
Awesome. Sorry, the garbage truck is coming down my street. It might get a little noisy. This is a real world, people. Meredith, it's the 25th anniversary of your like iconic song Bitch, which I think is my personal anthem, and probably everybody else here. Can you share, like, that the song still resonates so much to this day? Can you share a bit about the anniversary and the song, and whatever else you have going on too?
Well, I was telling Lyndsey earlier, I just got my newest and youngest fan. She's 6 years old. She has bright red hair. She plays a bright red Fender Stratocaster, and she's learned the song, and she sings it. And I messaged her mom. I said, wow, like I picked some of my favorite fans who sing and play. I've never stopped getting people who sing and play, and if all goes right, I will have a fan tribute video with all the singers and players over the years that have done the song. Hopefully they'll all be mushed together in a good way. I don't know. One of my favorites is the one from Norway where like 200 people got together in the choir and they sang it for Women's Day. It was quite entertaining and awesome. It was really good. So all sorts of crazy stuff happens. And you know, I just kind of woke up one day and saw something on social media. I was like, oh, it's coming. I probably better do something or think about something. I was thinking, everybody's going, we want to get a vinyl. And so I knew I didn't do anything. I didn't really like social media that much. You know, I had done, I don't know, I think I overloaded on interviews and all that when I was touring and stuff. And I like to just kind of do a couple of things. Like I talk on Twitter, talk on Facebook, and I had my fans, and I felt like I knew everybody. I know I didn't, but I acted like I did. And I thought I should probably get a website. So that's where it started. I contacted Kim Gardner from Access, and she's actually one of my really, really good friends. They're her partner. And I said, do you know somebody who can make a website? And that's how it all started. And now we've gone from that to Universal is making a special, anniversary package, and they're fine. They're pairing me up, and we're actually have a couple of contenders that are going to redo Bitch, that want to do Bitch. You might have heard about that. We're not letting the cows back yet, because you know what I say, until it's done, you say yes to my advice. You say yes to everything, because 99% of things don't happen. So you just kind of go with it. And so, and then Gay Pride Month is next month. And so Universal wants to do something about that. I'm just going with the flow. You know, like I've been really having a good time raising my son and doing my AMP program, anybody's mentoring program, because anybody can do it. That's right. And took a break for the last couple of years. Not break, but, just kind of like, just, with COVID and all that, and was taking care of 2 family members that passed. And so, a lot of introspective, but when I kind of woke up one day and went, oh, it's funny, Bitch has its own thing. It's just, I look at Bitch now as almost like a child that now is grown up and it has its own life, and I'm here to honor that life. So I'm going to show up for whatever decides to happen, and every day it's something new. And so we're in a real roll right now, and I'll let you know as it goes, because I don't want to like spoil surprises or talk about stuff that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
So let's just see what
we
happens.
want to know as a role.
She-Rock
for
is
sure.
first.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on
Thank you.
25 years of, I mean, I know every word to that song, and I'll be singing along when you perform that.
Well, it is kind of crazy that I see new, like, college students doing reviews of it, and it's absolutely the funniest thing I've ever seen. They're like, oh, she's cute, her outfit. And I'm like, wait, have you never, oh, she wasn't born yet. I'm like, oh my God. Like, wait, what's happening here? Like, my mind just kind of goes crazy all of a sudden. And then I'm like, this is amazing. And I don't know, because it was just two guitars and a bass and drums, like, you know,
Yeah.
no backgrounds. I just went in and did it.
So good.
It's a
Well,
funny story. There you go.
but you did, it worked.
Sometimes simplicity is what it's
It worked.
all about.
Mm, mm.
Carmen, you have a signature amp from Black Star and some new music too, right? Can you share what's going on?
Yeah, the amp came out. There's more stuff coming out soon, and I go on tour in a couple of days. We're supporting Smashing Pumpkins, so that's going to be fun.
Oh, wow.
And I get back just in time for the She Rocks, so that'll be perfect. And yeah, we're doing the second Bones UK record, and I've been working on a bunch of other music and other things and events and stuff that I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about just yet. But it's like a lot of exciting stuff. It's just, and
That's
that's
great.
after the She Rocks. But the thing I'm most excited about is meeting all of you in person, being at the She Rocks Awards.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Sherri, I read that I have to read this. You were recently elected as a governor of the music branch of the Television Academy. And I think I saw that piece of news and I said, we need to get her on the She Rocks Awards. Can you share a little bit about that and what that means and whatever else? I know you're working on a million projects, whatever else you're working on.
No, thank you. If you know or you don't know, I mean, everyone knows what the Oscars, and the Oscars are given out by the Motion Picture Academy, and then you have the Emmys, and the Emmys are given out by the Television Academy. And so, in the world of film and TV, certainly more on the episodic side, the music branch, which is, gosh, I don't know how many members we have. We have a lot, but the music branch actually has never had a female governor. And it was something that I didn't even try to do. I didn't go for it, but I was asked to be on sort of like a peer group board, if you will. And from that, there was a governor who was terming out in several, terming out after it was actually during the pandemic, but they waited until after. And just said, I think you'd be great for it. And this is, so I'm doing it. I'm learning as I go. It's one of those things. It's kind of like life. We're just like, I have no idea. People are like, congratulations. I'm like, thank you. But it's an honor because it's, I believe in, awards are a tricky thing, right? It's like, sometimes it's like, I feel so honored and it is wonderful, especially like something like the She Rocks Awards. But then you also have other awards that necessarily, you just basically recognition of people's work. And so I really believe in the recognition of great work. And so, the Television Academy really upholds that. And I love the idea that I get to represent and, the other voices and, listen to other people's ideas and just kind of bring them and, hopefully help shape in a positive way some of my industry or the industry of film and TV music. So that's really cool. So yeah, I have a project that's actually coming out. I think it's just fun to share about it. It's since I don't know, I think probably some of us are throwback here if you've ever watched the movie The Gremlins, and there's actually an animated series. Not totally for kids, I gotta say, like it's pretty dark. Like it's an animated series coming out called Gremlins: Secrets of the Mogwai. It's coming out on HBO Max and Cartoon Network, I think. But it's coming out in it drops, as the kids say, right? It drops in October, sometime in October. And then one last thing I'll say is I'm currently working on a show called Kung Fu that airs on the CW, and it's been a particularly awesome project. I think just as not only just because it's a female badass character just kicking ass, but it's also I don't want to say a reboot, but it's a redoing if you will, of like the original David Carradine, you know, Kung Fu, but it's with an all Asian cast, with or a predominantly Asian cast, which I think is like the exactly right, Milk. I mean, it's like the first of its kind. We're righting wrongs. We're fixing, you know, we're creating a whole new narrative. And so I would say that as someone who is Asian, of Asian descent, as well as a female, it's really cool to be part of that new narrative and be part of a show that wants to say something, you know, and have a voice and have a point of view. And so I feel really grateful and honored that that I'm in this place suddenly where I just sort of woke up and it's like, wow, I have these amazing projects that I can have a voice on and be a part of a bigger engine, as well as, you know, something like a representative in the Academy that's been around for years and years and is just such a landmark in the industry and of integrity and upholding just really great work. So a lot of exciting things.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations. Amazing.
That's great.
And then last but never least, Lzzy, we know you have a lot going on. You're in your hotel room on tour right now. I think your album just came out, right?
Yeah, our album Back from the Dead just dropped on Friday. It had been a lot of ramping up to that. I had been doing kind of like what Meredith was saying, I said yes to a lot. And so I was doing like 7 hours of press a day, and then we're rehearsing for tour and then all these other video launches. But yeah, an album is out, Back from the Dead. It's been an amazing response thus far. We're out on tour. We start the first date tomorrow. We have Wolfie Van Halen and Stone Temple Pilots opening up for us, which is just crazy. And then we go out in the summer. We're doing an all female headlining tour. It's us and the Pretty Reckless, a band from Mexico called The Warning that are 3 sisters. And our friend Lilith Czar is opening up as well. So that's going to be a fun summer. I have my 3rd signature Gibson guitar coming out real soon. We have a graphic novel coming out that is actually featuring all women artists. It was written by the Winter Twins. They basically took our entire history as a band, which we are actually celebrating our 25th year of being Hailstorm this year. Took our entire journey and all of our music videos and found this crazy theme that we weren't even planning on. And so that's going to be exciting. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's going to be a whirlwind. We're starting this record cycle, and I'm just going to be happy to get out and play. We have our last full production rehearsal tonight, and it'll just be great to be on stage and own my power.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow.
Isn't
Yeah,
that a
you don't
funny
have
thing to
anything
say?
going on. Awesome.
Very boring
yeah, it's very boring. Nothing happening here.
But
I
isn't
know
that
it's
a funny
so
thing
weird
to
that
say? You can't wait to get on stage.
Yeah.
Go out on the road. I find that's the most relaxing place in the world, is to be on the road. Just put my thing under the door and let me go.
We've been talking about that. Like, as soon as we'll get on the bus tonight and I'll curl in my bunk and be like, oh, good. Here's now all we got to do is make the shows great. That's all. Everything else has been lined up. So
I know it in a weird way, it becomes the most relaxing place.
I know.
I remember when I got home, I once said to my husband, who was my tour manager at the time, now he's somebody else's tour manager right now, so life is a little tricky. And I said, could you just put a schedule under my door? He's like,
I've said that. I want signs like in my house, like where it's like, okay, that's where the bathroom is. Catering's over here. Can somebody just tell me what to make for dinner? Because that's the biggest decision. And yeah, I remember that the first time that we like really just had this whole whirlwind, like around the world tour, came back and we were so used to just every day there's a mission, you know, you follow the dressing room thing, you do catering, you go out, do show, you do after thing, and you do it again. And yeah, I remember calling up my manager and doing the same thing. I'm like, can you just put together like a day-by-day schedule just for my normal life, please?
I begged for it. Now my son actually, it's his first, we're third generation tour manager now. So he's on tour as an assistant tour manager, which I'm like, please God, just make this the gap year. And please God, please, because I am not ready for this. But he has his own bunk, and now they just put him in charge of cameraman, and I'm like, but he's It's in
Awesome.
his blood.
Yeah.
It's in his blood.
There you go.
He was on tour with me when he was 2. What are we gonna do? Like, oh no.
So it's all your fault.
That's funny.
I do like that idea though. I've never had anybody tell me like make my whole schedule for me. It's all on me. That's what as women, like
Glorious.
we're doing that for everybody else, right?
Well, it's all on me
So,
now because they're gone. And I'm thinking like, this is impossible. I call my husband, I go, I am so sorry to all my managers and tour managers. I get it. I get what your job was now because I'm it. And I'm like, no, I can't do it.
That's a complicated job too. A lot of pieces of the puzzle.
You know, I never felt dumb before, but this last 2 weeks, I'm like, like, what? You want me to say, you want me to do what? But actually, I've gotten some friends involved and they're like, we got this. We've been having some very late nights and fun doing some crazy shout outs. You should see the outtakes. Seriously, Laura, you should see the outtakes. They are crazy and funny.
I'll have to look at that.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna send them to you. Or they're gonna wind
Send
up
them to me.
they're gonna wind up on TikTok. I'm telling you.
I
they
would
will.
never do that to you.
No, I'm gonna put them up there. They're
Oh, if you
hysterical.
do, oh, that's okay.
So Lzzy, does that mean that you're not gonna be playing with me? Ooh.
Ooh. Oh gosh. Did we just conspire?
We'll have to talk about that later.
Oh.
We don't want to tell people who's playing. Like, we got to have some surprises at the She Rocks Awards.
Well,
It's eeny, meeny, miny, moe. You don't know who it's gonna be because we got a whole bunch of people with player abilities here. So
That's right. All I can tell you, it's going to be an amazing show. There will be loads of performances, inspiring speeches, not just from these amazing women, but we're also honoring Carrie Fierro, who does the Girl Power Conference in San Francisco. Leslie Gaston Bird, who is an incredible, engineer, mixer, does work with the Audio Engineering Society. She's an instructor. The legendary Dionne Warwick, who, an icon in the industry. Incredible guitarist Yvette Young, who will be there. Julie Robbins from Earthquaker Devices. If you guys like pedals, meet Julie. Ivana Manley from Manley Labs, also incredible woman in audio. And Tennille Arts is our opening act. And we haven't announced it yet, but I'll tell you guys today, the Command Sisters are going to be our house band. So they've sort of graduated over the years from opening act to featured performers, and now they're going to be our house band at the She Rocks Awards. So look for more info on that. It's, as I said, She Rocks Awards June 2nd. We'll be live streaming via Access TV and some other partners. You can sign up on the site to get a link to view, and you can also buy tickets at sherocksawards.com. And what else am I supposed to tell you guys? We have some great little VIP boxes. If you can't make it, you can get a VIP box. If you like a VIP at home, we'll send it to you. And yeah, it'll be a great show. And I thank you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you. I too am so excited to be back in person. Yes, great energy and an inspiring evening. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. And I want to leave maybe with one thought. I'm afraid to bring this up, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I think it's important. I have this question on my list, with the current climate today, does this event take on increased significance? Does anybody have a thought on that? Lyndsey, I see you nodding.
Well, I sort of said that when you asked me at the very beginning of this, what I was most looking forward to is, I go out to stuff all the time and I took it for granted. That was an amazing night in January 2020, but it was in the middle of NAMM week, right when the Grammys were happening, it was just another fabulous night in the night of all having, these fabulous fully booked calendars. And then after we had that taken away from us and we weren't able to celebrate in person, everything was happening the way this is happening on a screen, I realized I should have appreciated those moments a little bit more. And so, to be able to do it again, to do anything again, I'm going to concerts again safely, of course, and, hoping there's not another variant that's going to take it all away from us again. But now every time I go out or hang with friends or whatever, it's it's sort of let's party, let's make the most of this. So yeah, it does. Of course, I think I think one of the positives of what happened the last couple of years was really cherishing the moments we have to celebrate with friends and celebrate artists and see live music. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll have my bedazzled mask with me.
I have a few I could choose from.
Well, considering, ladies, we're still fighting. I mean, currently we are we're taking some huge steps back in progress and evolution because of people that are trying to suppress our rights. Still, it's still happening. It's 2022, and hopefully at some point in time we can let science lead instead of politics and religion regarding our bodies and the things that and our rights. And so I think that given that current state of affairs, I think it's important for us all to band together and celebrate our power, but also understand that we do have a voice in all of this. And regardless of how much everybody keeps wanting to shut us up about it, we will not. They can all suck it up because we're going to be loud and we are going to, I think it's going to be important again for us to all be representing that and standing up together. So it's definitely, to answer your question, Laura, it's definitely significant. And then on another hand, I mean, we are then also seeing this tremendous amount of progress. I am so glad that I am seeing it in my generation, where there are so many more women in this business and women in the audience as well. I mean, I'm in a hard rock band, and I remember when we started out, it was about 60-40 in the audience was male to female, and now it's been completely flipped. It's probably more than that now, and we're hearing from Live Nation and whereas all of these women are buying shows to go and see hard rock, and I'm like, well, yeah, duh. Like, we didn't get into this heavy music because we wanted to impress our boyfriends or something. We got into it because it's our genre. The genre is genderless, and also, I mean, I was just talking to my Gibson family about this. Of the last couple of years, the people that are buying the most guitars right now are women. So we're seeing this happen in real time, and so that's really encouraging. And so happy to be riding this high wave with all of you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you on June 2nd.
Yes.
All right.
Love you all. Thank you.